What's up guys, welcome back to another Kengan video. Today I'm going over my 10 favorite fights in the Kengan Annihilation Tournament. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, join the Discord, and let's go. So to pick 10 fights, it was a real challenge because there was a lot of fights during the tournament. There was like over 25, I believe. I want to say over 25, around like 28 or something along those lines. There was a lot of fights, that's all I gotta say. There was a lot of fights during the tournament. And to pick the top 10 was a bit of a struggle, but I was able to do it. So these are my top 10 favorite, or per se, top 10 best fights in the Kengan Annihilation Tournament. At 10th place, we have Hanafusa versus Bando. I have this fight in here. I didn't want to put it too high because it wasn't a normal fight, and I only wanted to include it because it was the most unique and different fight compared to all the others. Like, we had Hanafusa using his bones to fight during the fight, and Bando, which is an absolute stretchy free. The winner of the fight was Bando from KO, or KO kill, but as we know, Bando was meant to die after the fight, but as we know yet again, neither of them die. Hanafusa didn't die, and Bando also didn't die. So it was just a strange fight that was very unique and very enjoyable. We had Hanafusa running around using all his tricks up his books to take out Bando. It was just a giant freak show, just dealing with him quite easily. And then as a whole, fight solid, different, and very unique compared to the other fights. Fight number 9, I'm going to go for Ohma versus Wakatsuki near the end of the Annihilation Tournament. This fight was good because they both were quite worn out during their previous fights because they had like very tough fights beforehand. And then coming in here, just bringing out everything at each other, with Ohma reinventing himself or reconnecting to his Nico style and getting his memories back and everything, showing what he's really capable of when he puts his mind to using the Nico style techniques and thinking about a battle, not just relying on the advance and going absolutely insane. We saw that here with Ohma and Wakatsuki. Very worn out, but the fight was still very good and interesting throughout, with Ohma being able to take the victory barely near the end of the fight. Fight 8, I'm going to go for Kuroki versus Ray, or Beard versus Sasuke. This fight was interesting because we got to see everything Ray was capable of. In the previous fights against whoever he fought first, he pretty much one-shotted, and then his fight against Pang, they were good. We got to see some of what Ray's capable of, but the Pang fight was more about Pang showing everything he has, while Ray pretty much defeated him quite easily. And then with Kuroki, a veteran master versus Ray, we got to see everything Ray had to offer, and the fight was spectacular. The Ray, you know, Sasuke, my favorite character, Naruto, same look, same style, lightning. Ray, just cool character against the almighty Beard. Just all around interesting, good fight. Good to see everything Ray was capable of. Good to see Kuroki just being an absolute badass with the devil lance. Love to see that. You'll probably see him more in this video. And such as in 7th, we have Kuroki yet again versus Kiryu. This fight was interesting because we sought to see the like insanity and how it had backstory involved in this, with Kuroki realizing Kiryu killed his previous master, who was Kuroki's friend and like, I know, fellow combatant in the martial arts world, and Kuroki to get his revenge by taking him out. And just like the last impact for the final panel with Kuroki just screaming the devil lance, and then Kiryu on the ground, just like blood everywhere. It was just greatness. Fight was just good. Kuroki showing that he's absolute chat lad early on, and it's just greatness. Because when I started watching or got into the series through the anime, when the anime started coming out, and I predicted that Kiryu was going to win the whole tournament, and he got taken out quite early once I started reading the manga against Kuroki, which is just very interesting to me. And yeah, great fights. Number 6, we're going to go for Cosmo versus Akoya. Justice, absolute brutal fight, probably the second most, or if the most brutal fight in all of the Kengan Annihilation Tournament. Was just an insanity. We had Cosmo on the ground with Akoya, almighty justice man, just fucking stabbing him, torturing him, getting this absolute insanity. You got him like biting his flesh and everything. This a crazy fight with Cosmo being able to push out the win with like everything he had, and then after that he was pretty much just destroyed mentally and physically. Got destroyed by Ohma the next fight, but that fight was just insanity, brutal, crazy. I really enjoyed that fight. Number 10, we're going to go for the final fight of the tournament, Ohma versus Kuroki. The only issue I have with this fight is we had backstory, or we learned more about Ohma and everything, how he knew Nico and everything related to that. The thing was, both people were quite injured during the fight. We had Ohma using everything he had left, using his like most dangerous technique or strongest technique to try and win, with Kuroki having his like broken hand but still like attracting his muscles together to still use the devil lance, because you know, Beard beard is just too chad for that. But we had Ohma that was quite injured. I'd love to see a battle between Omega Ohma and Kuroki going at it again, with Ohma being new heart, full power, and then Kuroki, you know, being absolutely chad. He was pretty much full power, honestly. I think if you had a broken up, it didn't matter to him. He just attracts his muscles together to make a fist or his devil lance, and then goes for it again. Like, you know, Kuroki was fine, but I just wanted to see Ohma at more of a full power instead of like on the brink of death. And as we know, he pretty much died after that if he didn't get a heart transplant, as we know in Omega. But there you go, Ohma versus Kuroki is number 5. Number 4, I'm going to go for, my opinion, the most brutal fight in the whole Annihilation tournament. Wakatsuki versus Julius, the battle of the buff, strong powerhouses of the tournament. This absolute insanity, insane hits to each other. After the fight, we had Wakatsuki with a new like design after the fight. That's how much he got banged up thanks to Julius. And then Wakatsuki using his strongest attack to take Julius out, and then Julius being an absolute freak. As well, when I first started watching anime, when I saw Julius and how he was connected to the pretty much people rivaling Metsudo, I thought he would make it longer, but then when he went up against Wakatsuki and how Wakatsuki's whole goal for the tournament was to verse the Fang again, I thought Julius may have won, but Wakatsuki being an absolute chad lad. One thing I have to give it to this anime slash manga is that they can make the fights just, you know, you don't know who's going to win during the fights. Like, I had no idea Kuroki even was Kuroki. Kuroki didn't get really any shine during the early stages of the Kengan tournament. No one even knew who he was, and then at the end he's taking out all these top players. Kiryu, Ray, Ohma, the Fang, everything, just beard out of nowhere. I thought this insanity how the thing played out, and same with this fight, Wakatsuki vs Julius, just insanity, big powerhouses, the strongest two strength-wise fighters going at each other to the deaths. Great fight. Number 3, I'm going to go for Kuroki versus Kanoh, the 5th Fang Metsudo. This fight was great because we saw Kanoh reinvent himself, come up and just push everything he had to try and win the fight. And before that, he had like another great fight I'll talk about soon. But Kanoh versus Kuroki is a great fight. We got to truly see that Kuroki is the beard, the absolute almighty beard, the chaddest of lads out there. And you got to see that the beard is actually a top competitor in the tournament, because we had like people like Hatsumi Sen, who just recently lost the last round against the Fang, watching Kuroki defeat the Fang in the background in shock how strong Kuroki is, how is this manhandling the Fang. The fight was, as we saw, it could have gone either way. Like, Kuroki got the most injuries during this fight against the Fang than any other fight, such as against Ohma. He got the most injuries in this fight against the Fang. And if the Fang was maybe full power, because as we know he had extremely tough fights beforehand going up against Kuroki, he maybe could have pushed that W out, but we don't know. Kuroki, this is an almighty beard, great fight, one of the longest fights in the whole series, and I really enjoyed it. Fight number 2, we're all going to see this coming. We have Raian versus Ohma, the most insane, this rampage fight in the whole series. We had no techniques really come out at the side. It was just Ohma using his advance and Raian using his removed, and then just going at each other, punching back and forward, just going insane. And then near the end of the fight, when Ohma pretty much retrieved his memories, brought out the Nico style, and then manhandled Raian. It could have gone Raian's side because he was kind of messing around. He could have finished the fight very early on, but he wanted more of a fight out of Ohma, and he wanted to see their advance and then go rampage at each other, just have an all-out brawl at each other. So Raian kind of messed up in that part. He could have ended the fight early, but he wanted a more brutal, just insane fight, and that's what we received. And the second best fight, very close. I was going to give it the first, but just the first fight was just too great. I couldn't pass it up. But number 2 was Raian and Ohma, and the number 1, my personal favorite, in my opinion, best fight in the Annihilation tournament was Gaolang versus Kanoh Agito the Fang. So this fight was this greatness. I believe it was actually the longest fight in the whole Annihilation tournament when it came to chapter wise. I can't wait for it to get in the anime. We saw the Fang break down his whole mentality in fighting, and it's just going to be great. Like, we got him to break down, to use different style. We saw everything he's really capable of. He started off the fight trying to defeat Gaolang, the world champion boxer in boxing, and then he realized he can't do that, and then Gaolang brought out his Muay Thai background to just body the Fang more, and then the Fang had to keep evolving and evolving to try and win. And then even after the fight, the Metsudo thought that the Fang couldn't fight anymore after how much injured he got, and he had to prove himself by taking out a former Fang that was one of the bodyguards to stay in the tournament, which made him quite weak against Kuroki in the next few battles. But there you go, Gaolang versus Kanoh. Probably, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's the longest fight in the Annihilation tournament, and this everything about it was greatness. Gaolang, my personal, probably top 3 characters in all of Kengan, Ashura, Kengan, Omega. I can't wait to see more fights in Omega. I may make a video of the top fights in Omega we're currently seeing, but we haven't seen many, so I may postpone for that. My next videos is going to be going over pretty much what if battles, such as the first one I got prepared is Wakatsuki versus Raian in Omega. So current time chapter 54 Omega, Wakatsuki versus Raian. I'm going to be predicting who would win against that, talking about each of their abilities and who would win. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video. Let me know some other videos you would like me to make, maybe some other what if battles. And yep, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and peace.